y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a Bible journaling process video for you. I am working through the devotional Pointing to Jesus from By the Well for God, and today I am working in day 9 and it is focused on Psalm 22. And you can see here that I have studied and taken some notes and did some artwork in my traveler's notebook, which is what I'm doing primarily for most of the entries this month. But I also wanted to do an entry in my Bible, and Psalm 22 is a well-loved psalm in my Bible. I've already done an entry on this side on the main part, so I will do one on the back and show you how I will deal with this bleed through and the shadowing and things like that that are happening on this page. I will make sure to link everything down below. If this is back in stock, then it'll be linked down below. Otherwise, keep checking back because they will be restocking this, I believe. And I will link the rest of the supplies that I end up using as well. All right, let's go. So for me, the best way to cover up some shadowing and bleed through is going to be with paper piecing. And luckily our kit came with this beautiful hymnal page that I plan to use to cover up most of the paper. And I'm actually going to use this background stamp. It is a collage of different tickets. I'm using some of the dewdrop ink in like a brown color, and I'm going to use that just to create a little bit more interest in the background as I start working on layering here. And you can see I just leave it on its actual plastic sheet that it comes on. I don't have a block big enough at the moment to hold this background stamp, but it works just fine using that, and I'm going to use the second generation stamp. And then I'm just lightly dusting it with this champagne embossing powder. And I didn't want to completely cover it. I just wanted hints of the shine coming through. So once that is embossed, you can't see it very well on here, but it's just little hints of shine, just adding a little bit more texture, but it's not a complete coverage, and that was done on purpose. You can see that the hymnal page will cover the majority of that bleed through and shadowing, but I'm going to start working with layering some other elements. And when I'm working with layering, I've had a lot of people ask, is there a trick to it? How do you layer? And truthfully, you're just gonna play around with pieces until you think it looks good. I know that I have this pink over here that I want covered up, and so I'm just gonna put a sticker right on over it. This is a transparent sticker, so you can still read through it. The darker parts of that butterfly are a little bit difficult to read through, but truthfully, I'm going to be writing out my main verse that I'm focusing on a tag, so I'm not super worried about covering up a little bit of the text right there. So I just play with pieces. That's what I like to do when I'm layering. Play with it until you think it looks good. Don't stop until you like it. That kind of mentality will really help in your paper layering. I love this ticket book from Tim Holtz. It goes so well with this devotional, and I just reach for it all the time. It's like these vintage tickets, and what I like is that they are perforated, so you actually get that little bit of texture from a torn ticket, just like you would if it were a real ticket. You can see that I'm just going to layer a few of those pieces, and now I'm reaching for some different ephemera. And these are also Tim Holtz, and I will link them below. I bought these last year for a specific By the Well for God kit and never thought I would end up using them again, and I have used them plenty of times. I love these vintage people. I think they're so interesting looking, and they go perfectly with the feel of this kit as well. I grab a bingo card right here, but I end up not wanting to cover up the word Jesus. I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of the bingo card. So I will remove that little grouping of people. And then I have my Jesus bingo card sticking out. And then I feel like it needs something, just something else to balance the people on the right. So I find another person here on the left that I can add in. And I'm super pleased with how that cluster, that grouping of pieces works. So I try to remember where everything is. I'm writing out the verse that I'm focused on, and then I will be able to adhere everything together. The verse that I am writing out reads, "Posterity shall serve him. It shall be told of the Lord to the coming generation. They shall come and proclaim his righteousness to a people yet unborn, that he has done it." And that's Psalm 22, 30 through 31. And that, of course, references Jesus on the cross. And it brought to mind when Jesus says, "It is done," and he gives up his soul for sacrificing for the rest of us for our sins. And it seems like such a sad moment at times when Jesus, says it is done, but it's also a triumphant moment, just conquering sin in that way. And so I took it for he has done it. He has saved us. We've reached our salvation. So I tried to kind of turn it on its head a little bit. And so I'm going to play with the phrases, he has done it and it is done. As I was reading through that verse, you can see that I have just been adhering everything on my page. I'm using my adhesive tape glider gun that works so well with these elements. And I decide my tag just needs something else to kind of make it pop. So I am going to use this 6x6 piece of paper. This is available in the By the Well for God shop. I love that they have these coordinating papers now. As someone that loves paper piecing, this works so fantastic. And I'm actually positioning it so that I get a little bit of that pink tag showing there on the side, because I want to bring in the pink that is in the Jesus bingo card, just another layer to that element. And now I'm taking the sides of my scissors and just roughing up the edges, just so it's not such a clean edged piece, just adding a little bit of texture. They have tools that do this, but I just use the edge of my scissors, and this is pretty thick cardstock, so it works really well. Now I've taken it over to my sewing machine. You can't see it very well, but I did add some sewing detail around the edges. And to just add a little bit more texture, I'm going to bring some string, wrapping it around my fingers just a little bit, just to make some loops, and then I will include that underneath my tag. Again, just to set it off a little bit, add a little bit more texture to the page without adding a lot of bulk. So string is a great way to use that. And then my tag will fit right over the top of that string, adding plenty of adhesive on the back just because I want to make sure all the elements will stick. I adjust that string ever so slightly, get that down, and then I'll just finish putting things down on the page. There really is no secret formula to paper piecing. You just keep playing with it, moving things around until you feel a good balance. You can see I'm moving this tag around just a bit because I needed just a little bit more up where the bingo card was. It just looked a little stark right there, adding a little bit of washi there at the bottom, a place for my gentleman to land. And that's it. Paper piecing is just a practice, really, and you just have to keep trying things until you like it. So I stamped out these letters that spell out he has done it using the Chromatic Alpha stamp set from By the Well for God, and then I just fussy cut them out, and I actually stamped them on another one of the coordinating scrap papers, the 6x6, because I liked how it brought in those same colors. So I did that, fussy cut it out, and now I will just adhere it down here. Originally I had planned to put the title up top, but everything else is kind of anchored to the bottom. It was feeling heavy at the bottom, and putting it at the top felt a little bit disconnected. So I ended up, I'll just use my liquid adhesive so that I can make sure it's going to be nice and strong, and then I'll put it down here at the bottom. And I think it just brings the attention down to the verse, which is the most important part for me. Of course, I've done my prayer journaling in my traveler's notebook, so I don't really feel the need to add any prayer journaling up at the top. So this will pretty much finish my page, just one other small little touch. Apparently, I'm just loving my layering so much that I'm reached for the clear stickers that come in the kit, and I'm adding even more. So just a little bit behind the bingo card, and then there's a little trapped white space down here in the corner, so I will add another sticker down there just to kind of fill that in and trim it off. And once that is done, the layering is done. Now I want to add something at the top because I have a tab that is sticking out from the reverse side, this semicircle, and so I'm going to cover it up with a floral ephemera piece. I wish that I had gone and roughed up this ephemera piece a little bit. It's a little bit too clean in my opinion for the rest of the page, but that's okay. It's not too big a deal. I just wish that I had maybe done a little bit of ink around the edges. Now I have the alpha tile stickers, and this is where I'm going to add the phrase "it is done." I work backwards just because I'm not great at spacing, so I know I want it to end over there on the right, a right justified phrase, and so I just work backwards putting it down. And I like the two sides of that statement, "it is done" and "he has done it," which is just something really to ponder and think about, and that's what I was doing as I was finishing up this page. Once those stickers are down, I will add the date stamp and this entry is done. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button. Make sure to leave a comment below if you have any questions. I would love to hear them. As I said before, all the supplies are linked below, and there's also a link to join my email newsletter, which goes out every couple of weeks. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and as always, keep it creative.